Yes?
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for your patience, everyone. We have a public hearing now to consider amendment to Warren County Comprehensive Plan to include the 2022 Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Hadia Lababidi, a planner with RPC, and I will present today the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan. So a quick background about the plan. In 2007, it was the first comprehensive plan for Deerfield Township, and then in 2015, there was an update for that plan and another update on 2015. So the planning process for this plan included three phases. Phase one, it was for preparation. Phase two, analysis. And phase three, plan development. The public participation in this plan included stakeholder interviews, steering committee meetings, vision and values survey, plan website, and public workshop. So the plan includes three chapters. First one is community agenda, and this chapter includes the goals and objectives for the plan under several categories, including growth, management, parks and open space, housing quality and diversity. Thank you. And other categories. Another chapter is the land management plan, which is land use. And this chapter includes the future land use map that includes 7 character areas, and you see the map on the right of the screen. This chapter provides information about the existing context for each area of them, the specific vision for the area, appropriate land uses for each character of them, and general development guidelines for new projects and redevelopment projects. The land use categories are the same from the previous plan. 2 new categories were added. One of them is the employment commercial, and another one is the agriculture. And like these categories provide descriptions of land uses with development characteristics such as density, building placement, parking, and others, and also provide baseline of standards for new development and redevelopment projects. An example, this one is one of the categories, which is rural single-family residential. And for example, this zone provide for density 1 home per 5 acres. The last chapter in this plan is the implementation strategy, and it provides implementation actions that detailed under several categories, including regulations and service provision, coordination efforts, system of trails and paths, township identity marketing, and planning focus areas. So, like to sum this plan, the plan is an update for the 2015 plan. It's reprioritized goals based on accomplishments from previous plan. It provides also more specificity on acceptable land uses and greater emphasis on low density residential development, and provides more area for highway commercial along Highway 22 and 3. And parcel-based future land use map. So as you see on this map, like the colored areas are the focus areas and the areas that witness changes from the 2015 plan. And here is a comparison between the future land use map from 2015 on the left of the screen and the future land use map for 2022 plan on the right. also here is a comparison for the Warren County future land use map. It shows on the right the current map with a previous future land use map or for Deerfield Township, which within the red rectangle. And on the right, it's the proposed future land use map for the county, including the new future land use map for Deerfield Township. So the approval process started with Township Trustees public hearing back on June 2022 with resolution number 2022-33. And then it was presented to the RPC full board, who made a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to adopt the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan update into the Warren County Comprehensive Plan. And this is a copy of the trustees' resolution. And then today we meet for the Board of County Commissioners public hearing to update the Warren County Comprehensive Plan, incorporating the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan update. So this is also a copy of the resolutions from the 2015, like the adoption for 2015 plan. There were two resolutions, one to adopt the entire plan, which is the text and maps and everything, and the other one is just to adopt the future land use map. So our recommendation to your board is number one, to adopt the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan as a supplement to the Warren County Comprehensive Plan. And two is to adopt the updated Warren County future land use map that incorporates the future land use map recommendations of the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan. With this, I finish my presentation, ready to take any questions. And also PJ Ginty is from Deerfield Township, also ready to take any questions.
Right.
So just because we adopt this, a comprehensive plan, the underlying zoning is already in place for, that doesn't necessarily reflect what is currently zoned on the property, correct?
Yes, correct.
Meaning that you don't have minimum 1 to 5 acre lots in certain areas right now.
No, so there's a number of different,
Just for the record, would you state your name, please? Thank you.
Morning, PJ Ginty, Planning Manager for Deerfield Township. So there are a number of different text amendments to our zoning resolution that are proposed throughout this comprehensive plan. So it's something that staff takes the recommendation from our residents in the comprehensive plan and then translates that into zoning policy.
Because you guys do your own zoning.
That's correct, yes.
So even though your comprehensive plan is there now, you're gonna have to go back and do the heavy lifting, which is going to those property owners with large parcels and say, you always thought you could put 1/4 acre, 1/3 of an acre lots here, and now you're looking at 5 acre lots.
So throughout the process, from my understanding, there were a number of property owners who actually requested this change and requested that we put it in the comprehensive plan. So from my understanding, we would create a new zoning district and then essentially advertise that to the property owners. It wouldn't be a taking by the government by any means. It's something that we're going to be very careful not to force any property owner into doing that. It's a voluntary rezoning.
Mm-hmm. And then, did you have discussions with the school district? King School District is in financial trouble. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They've got the highest rates inside of the county. They just passed another huge levy, and it's solely because of the lack of business growth inside of the school district. Have you taken that into account? Because that's one of the most serious things we can do inside of a comprehensive plan is eliminate, I've been preaching this for a long time, of balanced growth, and we keep doing these high density, smaller residential areas and improving them, and then what happens? More kids, more schools, more taxes, blah, 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 and that's exactly what's going on in Kings. During this planning process, have you accounted for that?
So one of the other recommendations that is referenced in the comprehensive plan is talking about our business redevelopment district. And there are two specific areas within the King School District where we're looking at different uses and different ways to I guess adopt new regulations that would encourage business growth within those areas. So the first area is within the 741 interchange, where the new Mercy Hospital is in Mason. But that would be an area where there's targeted redevelopment priorities, as well as the 22 and 3 corridor near the Landon Kroger as well over there. Now, I'm not sure if a member of King's was on our steering committee, but I believe within our comprehensive plan we have, there's a section that talks about coordination with the school district and making that a priority for the future.
Because I know we've actually talked to our economic development folks and said this is one of our targeted areas is the King School District, because I mean, it's crazy what the taxes are doing right now.
Yeah, and that vision aligns with what is proposed in our comprehensive plan.
And I would tell you is Deerfield Township has a very aggressive new hire in the economic development, Paul Brim, who has worked significantly with Matt Schnipke and Candace. So I think that from just a Deerfield Township's perspective, I think they have much more of a focus with a gentleman that's been seasoned in economic development for years. So I think he'll make some significant changes in that space. Obviously, it's going to be driven by the market, but you've got a gentleman there that I think works really hard on that.
Yeah, so Paul started back in April. He brings 25 years of economic development experience to our team.
All right, well, Deerfield is our largest political subdivision, very important to us. You're very important from the county's perspective on the generation of sales tax. I mean, you're our biggest driver through the Mason-Montgomery Road corridor. So we love partnering with Deerfield on major things, and as long as you've addressed those issues, and I agree, less dense housing, more business, period, end of story. That's what Deerfield has to have, and particularly inside of the King School District.
Right, yeah. I assure you that that's a targeted priority within this comprehensive plan as well.
All right, fair enough.
Who drove the plan? Was this driven by Deerfield Township? You guys were the ones that?
Yeah, so we had a consultant, so it was Deerfield Township, and then Planning Next and McBride Del Clarion were our two consultants.
Okay, and then you all reported to your trustees, and your board of trustees then held a public hearing on it, and they unanimously adopted this plan.
That's correct, yeah.
All right, and then subsequently it went to, it was adopted by our, the Regional Planning Commission? Okay, and now it's to us, and obviously you've just explained an overview of what's going on here. Is there anything in particular that is important for us to know in deciding this today? Because I'm inclined, of course, to simply approve it based upon the fact that Deerfield is the one that led this and has approved it, and the RPC has approved it. Is there anything that we should know about? Was there any discussion points that were difficult, or was this all pretty much?
So, I mean, there was a little bit of, and I started on June 21st, 2022, so my task is going to be carrying out the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, because they passed this thing on what?
June 21st,
June
2022. So from my understanding, though, and we did an excellent job, the previous staff did an excellent job of getting resident input. There was a steering committee formed that had Mr. Stan Williams and then Mr. Chris Broush from the Water and Sewer Department as well. And our trustees were actually involved in that steering committee process and leading the charge with this comprehensive plan. Now, due to COVID, there was a pause, about a year and a half pause from my understanding, to getting it from where it kicked off to where it finally finished. So there were a number of different changes that we had updated, that the previous staff had updated as far as that, and making sure that that was still part of the plan and not just kind of swept under the rug.
Okay, so there are two items that we have to address, is that right? We have to adopt the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan as a supplement to the Warren County Comprehensive Plan. We'd have to make a motion specifically to adopt that, and then we have to make a motion to adopt the updated Warren County FLUM that incorporates the future land use map recommendations of the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan? Those are the two things we need to do today?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion.
Okay, so before you do
I'm
that,
sorry.
please, if I might, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here who'd like to
sorry.
speak on this. Seeing none, then I will recognize your,
Do we need to close the public hearing first?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Yes. Second.
and yes?
All right, and then I'll make a motion, that, subject to discussion, to adopt the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan as a supplement to the Warren County Comprehensive Plan.
Second?
Any discussion?
Nope.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate Deerfield doing this. This is not a rubber stamp, in my opinion. I've actually been against comprehensive plans of some of our political subdivisions when I thought they were making mistakes before. And as long as you're addressing those two things, larger lot size, meaning less dense homes and more businesses inside of the township,
That's fine.
I'm happy to support this plan.
So do we have a resolution to read by title, just for the record?
Title only, just for clarification, I thought it was going to be presented as two separate resolutions. I think it got presented as one. Are there two separate resolutions, one for the comp plan text and one for the comp
Yes.
plan map?
Yes, because on 2015, if we will follow the same as 2015, so there were two resolutions, one for the text and another one is for the future land use map.
Okay.
So you'll need a resolution to do two separate resolutions.
Okay, do we need to ask?
Well, I just had a motion to adopt the comprehensive plan. Do I need to make, and that is sufficient
For the
for
first?
the first one, is it not?
Okay,
Correct.
so let's
Yes.
do a roll call vote on the adoption of the Deerfield Township Comprehensive Plan as a supplement to the Warren County Comprehensive Plan.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes,
Commissioner Young?
Yes?
Commissioner Grossman?
Yes.
and Commissioner Grossman.
All right, now do we, can I make a motion then to adopt the updated county FLUM that incorporates the future land use map recommendations?
Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion to adopt that.
Second?
And roll call, please.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes,
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a lot, that's like years' worth of work, so, and now you have to implement it. Good luck. Okay, is there anything else, Tiffany?
I have one thing to bring to your attention. The Treasury notified us, and we actually looked into it several weeks ago, but under some additional funding, we have available to us $100,000, $50,000 over 2 years as revenue replacement. We have until the 31st, I believe, to apply for the funds. We originally thought that we were not eligible to apply. I don't have any immediate needs for the funding, so I just bring it to your attention. If you're interested, we could pursue
This is
other.
This is
This is kind of our,
additional federal
yes,
dollars
right,
as a
care-
result of COVID.
Yes, yes.
Well,
And I believe we'll have sufficient funds to, left over from some of our other allocations to address anything that we might have.
yeah. And so are they increasing by $100,000 the application for revenue replacement?
Yeah, that's my understanding. It's $100,000 that, could also go into the pot of revenue replacement.
But if we've maxed out what the feds allowed for revenue replacement, is it now increasing this threshold by $100,000, even if we don't apply for those resources?
You know, that's a good question. I understood this to be an additional $100,000 that, in a separate pot that we could use as revenue replacement.
Because my question would be, is if we've underspent on our allocation by $100,000, as, you know, we have all these projects kind of out in the ether, and some of them are gonna be undersubscribed over time before liquidation. If they're increasing that threshold, by $100,000, that would be a place where we would want to use the already received dollars.
I can find out that answer. If it is an additional $100,000 towards revenue replacement, which would be general government related
Yes.
items you could use for anything that would be general government services, doesn't have the strings, you know, as some of the other dollars have. Would the board be interested in applying for that?
Well, I would not be interested in applying for new resources. I would be interested in knowing if, because as I understood it from you previously, we maxed out on what the feds allowed
The
us to use.
$10 million, yes.
And so if they've increased that threshold to 10,100,000 because they now have this new bucket of money, as we're underspending in some of our other buckets that we have out in the community, I would like to move then those underspent dollars into that revenue replacement. If
understand.
indeed they've increased the threshold. But, you know, from my perspective, we don't need any more federal dollars. We are going to have some underspend on existing federal dollars. There are some communities that perhaps will apply for this, but if we've already maxed out what we could apply,
And we have not maxed, I'd have to look at the allocation, but we have in our framework maxed the $10 million currently.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so now, because they have this new $100,000 pot of money, are they increasing that
And I do
threshold to
not know
ten
the
million
answer
one
to
hundred
that. I
thousand?
can find out that answer.
Okay, so that's what I understand that there, I guess the question before us is, given the date of application, the board needs to decide if we want to apply. So I will turn it over to my
So it's just
colleagues.
direction, you know, if
Well,
you're,
what is the board, what is critical that we act on this today?
January 31st is the last day
Okay,
to
so
apply.
today is important.
Because we originally had thought, we've looked into it, Suzanne Mason looked into it. We originally thought we weren't eligible to apply for it, but I've gotten several correspondence in the last couple days.
Well, our
and
next meeting
Candace
is on the
has.
31st, is that right?
Is our next meeting?
Yes.
Yes, so I can
For-
wait.
Well, from my perspective, I don't need to wait anymore. I hated the initial $62 million. I don't want to apply for another 100,000 of borrowed money. I could, you know, the government keeps throwing, federal government keeps throwing money, bad money after good, well, bad after bad, really. And so I have no interest in applying for an additional $100,000.
Well, I think the question that Shannon has got is.
But that's a good one. Shannon's question is a good one, that we've already got that money, and if we can use what they already dumped in our lap, so be it. But to go out and apply and hassle with staff,
Yeah.
trying to go out and apply for an additional $100,000 of borrowed money that the US government doesn't have, that we don't need,
And I
I'm
just
not in favor of that.
And I just suspect that as, you know, in our framework, we had tranches of those resources, and the spending isn't gonna meet the dollar and cent of what we put in there.
That's correct.
So if we're able to then sort of sweep that underspend up to $100,000 for revenue replacement, I think that's a prudent way to, you know, handle it. But I'm with Dave. I'm not interested in that.
Okay, well, I
Very
agree.
good. Thank you.
Anything else? Bruce, Tina?
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
Great.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Yes.